Welcome back to the BSDF1 podcast. Another race has been completed, so us four idiots are going to sit here and analyse it like we know what we're talking about. Welcome back. How are you doing? How did we enjoy the Australian Crazy Nuts Chaos Grand Prix? It was mad, wasn't it? Crazy stuff. You'll enjoy it, yeah?
Wicked.
Not
I really
getting up
enjoyed it,
early.
apart from waking up, yeah.
6 a.m. start. I'm always up because I'm an 80-year-old man in a 27-year-old's body. So I'm always up at that time because I've had 5 pisses at that point.
Obviously.
Okay. This isn't the time or the place for that. Just squash that beef, Joshua. Right? It's not the time or the place. Guys, Australia seemed to do... It was pretty good, wasn't it? Right? It was pretty good.
I enjoyed the race, to be fair.
Like, the whole thing was pretty high adrenaline, high octane. And Mercedes led a race, everybody.
Yeah. That was exciting.
Yeah.
It was.
Laps.
Was very, very exciting. Give me a few standout points from all of you. What you thought was like the best part of the race. You could even say weekend, but let's be honest, we all tuned in for the race, didn't we? I mean, especially my favourite is practice 1, my favourite session, not the race. I turned the race off. But what was the best part? Leo, let's start with you down there. Let's see what you go. What's your best part of the race?
When they suggested about Australia turning into
okay.
Listening to that at like 5 o'clock in the morning was beautiful.
No.
It won't happen, but do you know how better that'd be? I probably sound really selfish to like Australian fans because they've got to do this. They've got to do this like weekly every 4 weeks now. But yeah, no, turn it into a night race. I don't care. Anything but 6 o'clock.
That's
in the morning.
brutal. We do not do that at all. Yeah,
Especially on Sunday.
Yeah, that's
awful.
Jesus' day.
Yeah.
I've got to get up at 6 a.m.
Oh.
at the cave. Anyway, moving on quickly from that one.
Yep.
The night race thing, that was a bit mad. That was a bit out of like left field. I don't know why they'd change it to that. Because they only did night races, I believe, right? Was, Leo, you'll know this because you've been an F1 fan forever. Was it Bahrain when it first introduced the night race, right? Singapore, because it was too hot in the day? Or it just looked, that was it, right?
Yeah.
So, Australia is fine in the day, as it fucking rained on Saturday, so... But...
Oh, yeah, 90% rain.
Yeah, we all got up to watch a crazy qualifying, and... it was about what we expected it to be.
Yep.
Very much so. Ryan, give me your best moment of the race. Yes, sir. It's me, Ryan.
I'd probably say the battle that was going on a little bit between Alonso and Hamilton for the whole race.
Like the little battle that was going on the whole race, that one.
Yeah, because you could just tell the mind games were there. Of like,
that was great, wasn't it?
You didn't know if they were saving tyres, if Lewis was saving tyres, what was happening, or if they were just both pushing for nothing else.
Yeah, that was great to watch. Did you see the first time? Leo probably loved this one again. Little gatekeeping moment was the first time world champions were on the thing since what was it? 2017, 2018 with Raikkonen, Vettel, and Hamilton.
And Vettel,
that's mad. Yeah,
11 world championships.
That is unreal. Hamilton's still got most of them. Wait, more than Alonso and Verstappen combined. Best ever.
He's got 8. He's got 8.
Oh no! There he goes.
Oh no! He's gone.
Get it on Twitter, boy. Yeah, no, that was. I thought that was quite cool. Yeah, that battle was pretty good. What about you, Josh? Any interesting parts of the race, or has Ryan and Leo stolen both of yours?
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a left field. I really liked it, and I'm probably the only one because everybody's crying about the red flags. I really liked the fact that they paused the race to obviously clean up debris and then get back to racing, rather than watching 5 or 6 laps of the safety car go round, and then choosing which way to do it. Just no, straight red flag, get back, pause everyone, clean it up, get back to it, and then you get 3 standing starts. Yeah, all right, the last lap was a bit like an F1 lobby, but it was
great to watch.
No one can deny that was fantastic to watch. And if you are complaining, you need to get a life or get a girlfriend because, that's what Formula One's all about. You're going to crash. That's going to happen. But then just don't be Ocon and then send it everywhere, or don't be Max and send it everywhere. Because,
See, Max had a clean race. Matt, do you know what? I was well impressed with. One of my best parts of the race was actually, like, at the end, everybody seemed a little bit more, especially Max, Alonso and Hamilton, in the press conference afterwards, they all seemed really chill with each other. Like, there was no nonsense drama. Max gave Lewis room. Lewis gave Max room.
Well,
Lovely
you say
stuff.
that. There was some drama
Lewis a better driver.
That Max caused. Did you not remember, though, where Lewis had done Max into T3 on the first lap? That was the one that was about open. Tom Clarkson meshes it, I think. And
did he not?
He brought that up.
Did
he not also say something about people go around in the outside?
I don't think so. I can't remember something like that.
Anyway,
I can't remember.
But Max is still, and he caught clips saying, if the FIA are going to let that go, I need to change my racing style this year again. So sort of like, Max, why are you trying to get aggravated, by the media and attempt to change your racing style because you left the door open?
He does, doesn't he?
That's what he said.
I didn't think it was a thing, but Max does seem to get really agitated by media comments, where most of the drivers just shrug it off and ignore it.
Well, especially ones like that.
Alonso recognises them,
I think,
but that's really silly.
I think it's because it's come from Lewis. Because if it was, I don't know, Carlos Sainz doing that kind of move on him, probably wouldn't even get mentioned, or it wouldn't even got brought up by the media. But I think because Lewis done it to him, he didn't stop talking about it even after he won the race. And you're like, mate, you just won by if there wasn't the red flag, you would have run by 8 seconds, and you were 2 seconds quicker than when you overtook him. So go and cry.
Yeah, 100%. The media twist on it was, cry all them tears into your first place trophy, buddy. Cry them all. But I didn't really. The media thing, it is doing my head in. I must admit, like there is no rivalry. No one has. Don't mention it. Don't. That was big lisp. Oh my! I've done that in the video, by the way, that I recorded today. Massive lisp. I just left it in there for the fun of it. So no, the rivalry. It doesn't exist at the moment because no one can compete with him.
Yeah,
Max is on a different level than everybody else. Even Lewis said that, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, Lewis said the reason he just let him past in Saudi is because there is no point defending him because he'll just take you somewhere else. There'll always be somewhere else that he will just go round you like you're walking next to him.
Mm-hmm. Like you're literally in a Clio? Yeah, Clio Cup compared to the Red Bull, the RB. Yeah. Is it RB20 or RB19? What is it? It's 19, isn't it? Yeah.
19.
Look at Leo knowing it like a true Red Bull fan.
Who was it that
it's
said,
19, actually.
Drive to survive, fans.
Well, yeah, look at that Max Verstappen.
Literally better point out. Look at that hat.
Put that hat on, please, and gatekeep Red Bull. It'd be amazing. There we go.
He's getting aggressive.
Yes, wait, get the music playing. Oh my God, Andy Moore's joined the call, ladies and gentlemen.
He's gone.
Oh, I love it.
My go.
Gary Moore.
Oh, that's amazing. It suits you as well, that's the thing. Do you know what it makes? It takes about 5 years off you. You now look 12, which is... Oh, the cussing. Actually brilliant. Actually goated. Yeah, no, that was good. Let's wrap through some things. I thought, just going to throw it out there, I want one driver who you think did really well, one driver who you think did really bad from both of you. These are super quick fire. Don't think too much about it. Ryan, best driver this weekend, worst driver this weekend. Go.
Lewis Hamilton and probably Alex Albon.
Okay, cool. Leo, go.
Hamilton, Perez.
What, Perez is the worst? To be fair, Perez is the worst driver. That makes a lot of sense.
I did forget about Perez, to be fair. He did.
That's the Max coming out of me. I'll put the hat
Perez is a donkey. He's the slowest car on the grid, mate. Amazing. Go on, Josh. Give me a good and a bad. Let's go.
Lewis for best and Charles worst. Not because it is his fault, but if he didn't qualify like a donkey, then he wouldn't have been in the midfield pack at like 7th place, and then wouldn't have been punted off by your classic Lance Stroll. So,
yeah,
very Charles.
My two best this weekend, I would say, is George Russell, obviously. And then the worst, I'd say, is Logan Sargent.
Do you know what? I was thinking Logan Sargent, but then he had a decent race up until the last bit. So
did he?
Took it away.
He was in like when Albon is rapid in like 7th and 8th.
Yeah, but
Sargent's sitting in 17th.
Yeah, but Albon's different gravy at this track. Let's be honest.
It's not like he's Verstappen, is it? It's not. He's not a benchmark god. But the fact that Sargent also isn't a bad driver. Yes, it's his third race in Formula 1. But that was a fast car, and there's not a lot of corners, and he just was nowhere. And then just drove into the back of, what was it, De Vries?
Yeah,
he had into the back of De Vries. He and the Avatar. No, do you know what? Who was actually worse? And I think we can all agree, because we won't remember his name, because it was so bad. Bottas. He was terrible.
We'll get on.
Terrible.
We're going to go through that a little bit later. But I think we can all agree on that. But for the listeners, we're going to have a big Bottas bashing. Nope.
Great mullet.
Bad. That was
hold on.
Whoops.
I don't get nervous.
That was a really bad one. So yeah, we're going to have a bit of Bottas. I was about to say something even worse. Then we're going to kind of talk about Bottas later on. But yeah, no. So those are the guys that I think perform well. Think perform bad. There's a lot of stuff. Give me one team. Who was your standout team? I'm going to say it. Standout team, Mercedes. Leo.
Standout team.
Yeah, Mercedes. It's hard.
Brian?
I've got to say McLaren, because they actually got in the points and stayed there.
Okay, we'll put a pin on that one, Josh, because I know Josh will want to explode that pin very quickly.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri, the deadest driver in the world. I'll just go with
points in Home Grand Prix, though, first.
Who cares?
Mercedes. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, no, it's an obvious. It is a big one. Just want to say as well for the listeners who are listening, leave a comment about what you thought about the race. One of your best drivers, one of your worst drivers, and the team who you think performed the best and why it was Red Bull and Verstappen. So let us know in the comments about what you would think would be the best one. Josh, let Ryan into why you'd want to burst his bubble about McLaren being the best team.
Well, simply because 6 cars crashed out at the end, which allowed McLaren to get double points finishes. So McLaren have been completely gifted points. So fuck McLaren, fuck Oscar Piastri, and fuck Lando JPEG, to be honest. So, yeah, ended.
Oh, he's taken that personally with a photography account as well. Not the F1.
No.
You can have that all day. Lando when he started DJing as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to be hating on Lando for Formula 1 because I can't do it myself because I'm fat and I'm sitting in the chair talking about it and I can't race. So, Lando, you
sitting in the back seat, mate.
Yeah, sitting in the back seat.
But I will say the only thing
when you started DJing with Martin Garrix, that's the one that got me for you. That was I knew that would have been a knife to the heart a little bit there.
The only thing I would say though, by them getting points this weekend, it does cover a few cracked wounds with a few plasters, and I think this is gonna look like such a reward, but it's not because they were still nowhere. Oscar, is a quick track and he couldn't overtake someone for about 8 laps, and you had Carlos Sainz rip through him. I know the car's a lot faster in Checo, but it took him. Who was it? An AlphaTauri? Might have been Yuki Tsunoda. Took him what felt like 7 years.
Tsunoda.
Yeah, like. That's not good.
Can we just talk about Lando Norris's overtake, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, Ryan, actually. Yeah, give me some Lando love for the Lando fans in the chat right now.
That overtake that Lando Norris did on, was it Hulkenberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Hulkenberg around the inside of that. That was unbelievable.
Lovely.
I will add, though, and I'm not Lando bashing because of the sake of it. Hulk did fuck it.
He had full traction control when the AI was turned down.
Yeah. No, Hulk did fuck it, though, didn't he? He came off. And he made himself look like a donkey. But I will praise Lando. He did plan that the entire lap to send Hulk off. So, so
the pressure
credit is where it's
guys,
but also fuck Lando.
Yes, definitely. Lando Garrix. Yeah, another thing. Do you guys agree with this? If Lando Norris just focused, would he be world champion material? Take away the quadrant things, take away the I'm a photographer, take away I'm going to do DJing, get home, get Max Verstappen play sim racing on his jet, and then he gets home and he plays sim racing, and then he leaves and he goes to does Formula 1, and then he plays sim racing. He's on a simulator racing. Alonso is racing, doing things, but you never really see.
I think we have to ask our resident
Verstappen
gatekeeper who's been watching
Verstappen.
Formula 1 since 1942, Leo.
Yep.
Please give us your insight, please.
I've actually got a good
Fucking
point.
amazing.
I think he got Barrichello.
Oh, really?
written
Oh,
over
okay. That's different.
him. A great driver,
Just
great
lacks.
driver, but just
Yeah.
not
But,
world championship.
Leo,
quality.
can you answer me
Just
this,
lacks
though? You
it,
might know everything about Formula 1,
basically.
but did Rubens Barrichello beat the Stig?
What a shout.
He's had him.
He did, yeah.
I
He
don't
was
know,
one of the
don't
only
tell me
ones
that.
that did beat the Stig.
Yeah. Top geared F1 lap times. That was goated. Well
That
done.
was a.
That's put me right.
Yeah.
That's put me
Nice
right
Grand
in.
Tour fan, mate. Grand Tour fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good point,
Yeah,
though.
that's an interesting comment, though.
To
He's
be
like,
fair though, I
would
fully
say-
agree with Leo.
no, actually, I don't think it's Rubens Barrichello. I think he's probably a little bit more. I think Lando Norris, for me, is on a... Okay, lower it first for a couple here. I think there's three drivers that he reminds me of. Massa, Button, and Rosberg.
oh.
Lando Norris is that caliber. He's... You know, I
knew
always
you
go with
were
Massa.
That's
I knew you were going to
disgusting,
say
that
Rosberg,
is.
to be honest.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely
that is
that's a
terrible. Because
dreadful take.
Rosberg is actually a
Dreadful
decent
take.
driver, first and foremost.
I mean, Lando's a decent driver. The
No, his
problem
dad paid
is
him
that
to
I
be there.
think you've got that is
Hatred that is coming off of this kid right now.
that is a big statement. Do you want to put your name by that statement?
I
That's
will.
a big one to do. Lando Norris
is-
paid for driver Josh Constant.
That is getting clipped. That is getting
Oh, that's
clipped.
going to be one. Yeah, we'll get that one for sure.
He's in the
That's gonna be
first
on there.
30, though, so it doesn't matter.
Uh,
So it's not me.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to watch what you say because these are my clips that I get to post. You see. Yeah, I think he's probably on that caliber. You know, he's not going to be a multiple world champion, I don't think. I think if McLaren, which they probably can't seem to do, could give him a car, let's say like the well, I was trying to think of a good car as a demonstration, something that's not like in a championship fight because it's so good, like a Braum or an RB20 or 19, right? I think 20. I said it again, 18 or 19. Right? It's just because I do not know Red Bull at all. With Verstappen sitting underneath me.
Oh,
There
I
he is.
do. I do.
Speaking up in the crowd again, as they always do. But yeah, no, I think he's got like that caliber, if you know what I mean. But let's not get hung up on Lando Norris because we all know 7 or 8 time world champion in the future. Josh said that to me in DMs. Actually, I'll leak them later. Gentlemen, I have a question. I'm going to ask. Do you know what I'm going to ask? Actually, this question. I think the listeners can probably get on this question as well, right? But Leo, you like Twitter, don't you? You do. You are a bit of a
Yes.
Twitter. Would you say you're a tweeter by any chance? Would you say that?
He's a twatter, I
Maybe.
know that much.
Maybe.
He's definitely a twitter.
He's a big twatter.
He's a big twitter. So, Leo, because you love Twitter so much, would you care to tell the listeners that they can actually follow your terrible takes every week on Twitter by sending us telling us the handle for the Twitter? What is our Twitter, Leo? If you would mind telling the listeners.
I'll tell you what, mate.
Just as he
It's a good
finds it on
point.
his phone because he can't remember it.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's the most obvious thing I've ever seen.
Shut up, mate.
Apologise for the,
BSDF1 team.
Lovely.
Anyone
That's
wearing
at
headphones watching this
BSDF1
podcast.
team. That's very good. And we do also have a YouTube, which, you know, the draw at this point. You hit the sub button, you hit that like button. you hit the notification bell, which lets you know when there is a new podcast up. We got videos coming out this week as well that aren't just to do with podcasts, which is pretty cool. We've got some more content on the way, which is actually, we're going to give you a little sneak preview of what is to come in. It's not a video, by the way. I'm just going to tell you because that sounded like I was going to put a video on the screen. That would have been really sick, but we're not that good. There's going to be a little four-way championship, little four-way team battle championship hosted on a certain video game soon. So we'll be recording those videos. We look forward to that. We've also got a 1v1 championship. Yep, Dirt Rally 2, Colin McRae edition.
3.0, go.
That's what we're doing. And then we're going to do F1 84.
Oh, I thought it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
NES.
Yeah,
and that one. We're going to have a load of Pro Skater Championship. Best skateboard creation. Yeah, so follow us on the YouTube there where you'll see that content being posted weekly. But yeah, make sure you follow us on all the platforms. Do we all agree with that, gentlemen? I think, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Chuck us a follow.
Yeah, why not?
Don't know. Right, surely. But Josh didn't say anything, so I don't think he wants you to follow. So make sure you at BSDF1 and tell us how much you don't like Josh.
Copium.
There we go.
I'm straight on it.
Leo, don't tweet without tweeting.
Twitter.
Yeah, use your own Twitter.
Goodness me. Do you know what else is pretty crazy is
Should we talk about twats? No, fuck that. Should we talk about twats?
Oh.
Should we? I'll tell you what. Should we talk about you calling Red Bull?
I had got the sick, Ryan. It's Alex Albon.
He yoinked it from me.
Biggest chump this weekend dropped it, turned 6 or whatever it was.
When it really mattered. It really mattered. Yeah.
That was the point I was talking about him being the worst driver.
Mad.
I wouldn't call him the worst driver overall because he did perform really well until he didn't. And I think that's the problem, that he suddenly stopped performing well. What do you reckon that was? Anyone got any ideas? Like what happened?
On commentary, he said he called a curb.
I just don't get it. He was so good at...
Called a curb.
He was so good at Super 2.
The way he spun,
it was, wasn't it?
Like he lost traction from cold tyres or something like that. It was a very slow, fast, long spin.
Yeah, it could be it could be something to do with that. But there's a lot of variables in there. Yeah. I think he's not. He is to blame. He lost a lot of points for his team, especially with that craziness. He could have very easily finished in like a P5 or a P6, keeping out of trouble. Or Ocon would have just crashed into him, or Gasly would have just turned into him eventually. So, Logan Sargent would have hit him, or Sainz would have hit him. Yeah. Okay, Sainz penalty. Let's get into that real quick. Because that happened. Like, who thinks it was justified? If it wasn't the last lap with some nonsense going on, would that have been justified? Because I think a lot of people were skewing this because, he didn't get to bridge a 5-second gap. In a realistic term, he would have either served it in a pit stop or it would have been added to his race time, and he probably would have had a 5-second gap anyway.
I'll go first.
But he literally spun Alonso out the race.
I think it's unfair because they reset the order to back it what it was. So if Alonso was at the back, then the 5-second penalty would be warranted. But because they put Alonso and Stroll back to where they were, giving Sainz the penalty is really unfair.
Yeah, that's how I kind of looked at it. Yeah.
Why didn't Sargent get a penalty?
Because he's back in the grid. Who cares? He's Williams. Who cares? Williams aren't, not the main character, so it don't matter.
Just NPCs.
That's the MP, that's the AI just doing AI things.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Finished him there and then.
Nah, I don't know why Sargent didn't, because he literally did exactly the same thing, but he didn't finish in the points anyway,
one
so
of the
they
things,
probably were like, nah.
One of the things I wrote down, though, and I think everyone, apart from like 3 cars got through T1, they all complained about cold tyres and cold brakes. It just shows to me that the tyre blanket thing they're going to bring in from next year is going to really impact on how they start the first lap, or in red flag situations again. This is going to, and the tyres are going to change and adapt next year as well. So I think that these tyres coming up without the blankets is really going to be detrimental to the racing, in my opinion.
Well, we
saw that.
We should be able to see it tested because they are implementing a non-blanketed wet tyre in Imola this year.
Yeah, I saw that. That looks pretty interesting. I am. My thing with that is, I don't think tyre blankets, they give like an unrealistic safety net to a Formula One driver. He should be able to handle that car on cold tyres, right? You can't push as far. No other category, I think, in racing has that. No other category at all. Even I don't think IndyCar has tyre warmers. I don't think Super Formula has tyre warmers. I don't know these off the top of my head. I will fact check myself, and I'm sure people in the comments will also fact check me as soon as possible. And I'm pretty sure, I know WEC definitely doesn't have tyre warmers, and those cars are on pace. Yes, their tyres aren't exposed like a Formula One car, but maybe Formula One drivers got to realise they can't just rely on the tyres to grip for a corner and give it to them. They've actually got to, drive the car. I don't like tyre warmers because it's another skill element taken away from an F1
but
driver.
if you listen to the FIA
to get that tyre up to temp is a skill.
Why they're getting rid of them, it's none of that. It's to do with
cost, isn't it?
No, I think it's to do with the F30 thing.
Just the emissions and stuff like that.
Emissions and trying to be net zero. I think net zero actually rather than F30. So it's like trying to be more green. And I think that's I think that's a stretch. And if they actually just come out and said, we're doing it for net 30, but we also want the F1 drivers to be reliant on their own, like they do it in F2. So
their own skill set. Yeah.
If you got, well, it just shows you that if we're going the other way for it, it just shows you that they need to be more aware that cold tyres will happen, like they did in the last lap, and not be all babies and try and send it to gain a position on the last lap. Maybe should be a bit more like thought. And does that open the question about the DRS being open earlier? Because we know that they'd have 2 laps without DRS. So if DRS was open, which it should be, then we get more chances and less accidents, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to go with. Yeah, I think that the tyre warmer stuff is the whole, like you're saying, the net 30, whatever it is. I think that's their political way of saying the reason for getting rid of it. But I remember, I think it was Williams said how much it costs to heat tyres when it was back at the 100-degree mark. And it cost them like 10 grand or something per tyre for the entire weekend to keep it hot. It's like just a ridiculous cost that doesn't need to be there when, no other category has it. And like you said, I think stop crying and get out there, race your cars, get your tyres up to temp, create a car that can get hot tyres nice and quickly, and then that's it, basically. What about you, Leo? What do you reckon? You've seen Formula One without tyres before? Without tyres, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you saw it
without tyres.
Yeah, they're just floating.
It'll be interesting because if you look at these Pirelli tyres, even with tyre blankets, when they're coming out of the pits, they've got no grip as it is. So complete luck without tyre blankets going into the pits, putting on cold tyres will make strategy a lot more fun.
I'm for it.
I think it'll be fun. I do think the first couple laps of a race will be a bit reserved, and then coming out of the pits. But I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a lot more fun. I think
it just showed the drivers to the ones that are just using the car. Like the people that can handle a car with cold tyres to the people that are just relying on tyre blankets.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a very good point. Showing who has the car control. Remember when everyone used to be like, Lewis is the rain master and stuff like that. Lewis is the bloke in the rain and... I can't even think of anybody else. Perez, that's it. Perez, the master of tyre deck. Right? It feels like a lot of these things have kind of disappeared since the reliability has kind of been taken away from. I mean, I haven't seen a proper wet race because the FIA are terrified. Can you remember the last one? The actual wet race when it was raining and they had to be on wet tyres. Can all you remember of the last one you saw?
Turkey?
It wasn't raining though, was it? It was just a weird damp track with black.
Imola last year, was that raining or was that just damp track?
Intermediate conditions.
Sochi? But again, that was
the end of Russia.
I'm talking about wet.
Well, that's
Mazepin knew that.
Yeah, that would have been. But even then, they were on Inters, and only rained for about 10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, it started late. No, I can't think of anything.
What do you reckon,
Probably
Leo?
Spa, I guess, but then that was only like 4 laps.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to race in it because it was too dangerous.
Probably Leo's going to say like
Monaco would have been
Japan or something.
Yeah, they've been very funny since Japan.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Obviously, we all know what happened there, so it's been very funny. But recently, it's been since 2020, roughly 2019, 2020. It's been very like if there's wet patches on there or like water that's.
But let's not forget,
though, no, you're not racing on that.
Let's not forget it wasn't the fact that the rain was the issue on that day. It was the fact the FIA didn't do their due diligence to protect racers. They put a tractor on track, which they still do. They still have a rule for that.
Yes.
So it's not the rain's fault.
Yeah, it wasn't the rain that did it.
Yeah, but they should have. That's a condition.
No, but you can race in them. Just don't. If you put a tractor on it, just red flag it to clear debris or clear a car that's hit the wall or whatever. Don't. Do
you remember? Leo will remember this one. Nürburgring. It's Nürburgring, wasn't it? With the all the cars coming off T1.
I remember that one. Goated.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Ryan wasn't even born then, listeners. Ryan wasn't actually born in 2007. So that's why he doesn't remember.
Well, we had about 10 different leaders.
And again, wet race, wet conditions, crazy stuff happening. Canada, 2012.
Jenson
Button's last.
Jenson Button.
Yeah, Button's last win. And that was McLaren's last win until Ricciardo. Was it 2013?
No. It was Brazil 2012.
Oh, yeah. Of course it was. There it is.
Leo,
actually,
Leo, where's your
McLaren? Shaking.
Yeah, put your McLaren hat on now, loser.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Leo, with that. Actually, I can tell you what the score was back when you did.
Ryan, can you do us a favour
McLaren,
and take us a little walk down a certain street, please, mate?
Yeah, we can take a stroll down the street and hang out on Social Corner.
Social Corner. No, wait. Jingle. Ryan, give us a jingle for Social Corner.
Give a jingle. That's the first thing that came to my head.
So, on Social Corner this week,
you called me off guard.
We had another tweet from our resident watcher and listener, Paulette Simpkins. Thank you for posting another tweet in. It's really nice to...
Hello again. Who just whispered then?
So they wanted to bring up the fact that Max was caught in 4K complaining that Hamilton put him wide when he does it literally every time to everybody else. Yeah, which I think is a really funny thing to bring up because he does do that to everybody and then gets away with it. And then once he gets his bit of his emotion back, starts crying. And Lewis didn't push him wide. Didn't even touch him. So anything while we're on
didn't
that
even touch
one,
him.
Boys, anything to bring up on that one?
Yeah, he did. He did mention it in the post-race thing. Tom Clarkson brought it up. I hinted at it earlier on. And he was like, anything between, the thing when Lewis overtook you into this. And Lewis was like, he braked earlier, I braked later. We didn't touch. We ran down. It's racing. And Max was like, I have nothing to say about this. Like that, in the classic Max way.
He was caught in a river crying, obviously. Yeah. Then.
Grab a box of tissues, go sit in the corner, wipe your tears away, and then come back when you're mature.
Exactly that. So, Paulette, thank you for sending
Dad.
this tweet
All
in.
right, Dad.
Now we're going to go on to some takes that we saw from our...
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you, if we're pronouncing your name correctly.
Paulette, I think.
Yeah.
You pronounced it wrong straight away. So, quick transition to one of the questions Leo posed this weekend. Where will Lando and Oscar finish? That was on Saturday, obviously.
Just quickly, Josh, where was Leo posting that?
On Twitter at the BSDF1 Twitter page via Autosport.
Excellent,
we're
thank
not
you.
leeching, obviously.
No, 100%.
This person, Henry Williams, who doesn't watch our podcast and definitely should, I bet either one of these won't get into it and have a clean race, just stay out of incidents. And they clearly did stay out of incidents, but they also did have a clean race. So pretty good take, but also didn't get it right. But you know, if you're going to put money on it,
accurate.
He was kind of accurate.
10 points.
To whoever this man is. So scrolling through to our next one, Leo responding to the F1. Interesting. Would have Ricciardo benefited more from turning to Alpine than being a Red Bull third driver? And Bottas, I'm not going to pronounce that because I don't know what's going on there. Depends if
Give
Max
it a shot.
Checo,
Go on, mate.
No chance.
I mean, I think I've worked it out already.
You sausage. Depends if Max and Checo continue to have issues. So, Ryan, you brought this up last week about their strained relationship, or potentially strained relationship.
Yeah.
Considering what happened this weekend with Checo going off, making himself look like a complete donkey in qualifying, the relationship's all right because Max won at the moment. So, who cares? Anything to add, chaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking that Checo brought that issue up, 2 or 3 times before they even tried to fix it. So it's like they just...
Or are you saying, Ryan, that there could be some sort of tomfoolery going on with Perez's car?
I'm saying that Jos Verstappen had a little hand in there again.
Or did he give it a 1-2? The classic Jos 1-2.
He gave it the old, if you don't win this race, I'll leave you at the petrol station again.
Left Perez's crankshaft at the petrol station.
I like it.
Did you actually see all those like conspiracy theories about how Red Bull messed up?
Yeah.
It's so sad,
Perez's car,
honestly.
When it was genuinely a skill issue.
When it was like, something happened.
So funny.
Yeah, you locked up, lad.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
You didn't press the brakes at the right time.
Your setup is gash, lad. Get over it.
Exactly. Verstappen's a lot better.
Hit off the screen.
Go.
Just like to add as well, Leo done a really good job promoting our Twitter this weekend. So round of applause for Leo. Getting 13.5k views on the back. Let's just stop.
Well done.
He was replying to the F1 tweet asking for a question, and he got one response. But that exposure is doing us good, which is nice. And if you are listening to the podcast
like that
on
stuff.
Spotify, by the way, I encourage you to watch it on YouTube. Ignore that one. That's me copying and pasting, not doing my due diligence and checking. So the last one I've got
Classic. Not checking
Gasly,
again. That's come up a few times.
The right decision, leaving AlphaTauri for Alpine. And better Sebo. I assume he's a Seb fan. 100%, otherwise no seat for 2024 and in a back marquee car. I'm not sure about the marquee, but the car is definitely shit for AlphaTauri this year. But I think he made the right choice. But Ocon is your teammate, which is also now. So let's not forget about that.
Crash on.
So,
Ocon,
lads, I hope you enjoyed it on Social Corner. So let's take a little bit of a walk down back to the co-host.
Boys, thank you for Social Corner. I'm leaving. See you later.
Thank God for that.
Shut up, Leo. You dare. And you dare Verstappen. You're talking out. What are you doing with me? I mean, there's some other interesting things that happened in this race, right? So I want to make a little hint at something. And we're going to go into this deeper in another video, but I want a quick take from everybody. What the hell has happened at Ferrari?
It's almost too big to go into it on this pod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
we're hitting at this one. We're going to get another video out of this.
Yeah, that's another video in there.
I personally think rather than it's just the team and Fred and the drivers, I think that it's everybody. There's a culture problem there, which is just bedding into the team, the new management, even the road cars as well, because the road cars have so much of a pull into the racing team. It's almost too political. And I think they're too caught up with the Italian media all the time as well. So I think there's like 100 different reasons why Ferrari are failing. And I don't think they will ever fix it.
Got to explain themselves to the media why they were doing badly. Yeah, makes sense.
And
Boys,
Fred's the only
others? Ryan and Lilo.
Lilo.
Yeah, but he isn't now because he's only just turned up. Can't sack him immediately.
Where
Ferrari
do you start?
Usually at the beginning.
Usually at the beginning, indeed. But Ferrari seem to start and finish everything where they left off last season.
At the back.
In the
I was seeing where you were going with that one. I think I saw your head. Your brain was like, fuck, where do I go with this? That was building up. Ferrari seems to start where they left off. Then they finished second. And it's like, but digressing from that, yeah. No, like, yeah, they seem to keep bottling it, don't they?
And Leclerc has 6 championship points.
Yeah.
Let's think about it, right?
What is he doing?
They've had one mechanical failure, severe one, and then took mechanical. How would you class it as? They replaced it, so they get put back on the grid. So that's not good as well, even at places.
Oh yeah,
Saudi. Can't remember how you call it. But they got that. They took that for also. Escaping. They also took that for Sainz as well last time, so he's going to be one further back than, I don't know, someone like Checo. I think Max took one at Saudi as well. So they're already on the back foot in a mechanical sense. Their strategy team isn't working because they got caught out again in Saudi Arabia with a safety car. Like, everyone else seemed to get it all right except for Ferrari. And this weekend, Charles is obviously having a bit of a confidence problem. Can't put the car on the front couple of rows and puts it in 7th, which is where all the mid drivers seem to place themselves, and then gets caught up in getting shunted. And then obviously Carlos Sainz, we can complain about Carlos Sainz, but he doesn't deserve to have it taken away from him like that. But
not this weekend.
What you got to remember though, he put himself in that position and caused that incident to get that. If he didn't do that, then he wouldn't have done it, and he wouldn't have had that problem issue. Yep. So you could also
exactly
50-50.
At the end of the day, he was the one who hit the back of Alonso, and if you hit the back of someone, 90% of the time it's probably your fault. Yeah, I mean, that's a brief segment on Ferrari. We'll probably have to have a Ferrari corner at this point, boys, of how much they keep ruining it.
We'll have to get Matt P1 Gallagher
talking
on.
About ruining it. Yeah, see, cry Gallagher because of Leclerc being binned.
Can someone clip that and tag him, please? That would be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a Leclerc fan, I'd be doing that. Leo's going to get on that one. I'd be crying if it was me, if I was that passionate and not just the fanboy. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. Anyway, I just opened the window.
This is like some Lando Norris type fuel as well coming on here.
Yeah. The other thing that was an absolute catastrophe is Alfa Romeo, right?
Like, I'd also add AlphaTauri.
I don't even remember them in the race.
Alpha and Alpha, they're far from Alpha. Basically, that's what I can say. They may be even, the zebra at
the
this
one
point.
That disappoints me the most because Guan Yu Zhou, you can sort of like, well, you shouldn't give him a pass, but Bottas is almost a veteran of the sport, right? And this was meant to be his like second home apparently now because of the mullet, and he had the worst race.
Wait, is this like Bottas 5.0 now?
Yeah,
or 6.0?
What the fuck is going on with it? He was like rattling around in P17 for like 40 laps, and then everyone crashed out, and he was still out of the points. And he's like, what is going on? For a start,
just classic Bottas.
Yeah,
classic Bottas. Every now and again, he always had them days where he was just useless. Like, he just couldn't seem to get behind the wheel for the life of him.
But
he had them in 2021.
Points, that I talk about with Lando Norris, and his focus is everywhere else but his racing. Bottas is definitely one of those. His focus is definitely on his hair. Definitely focusing on his extra racing activities, coffee, the VB beers, the long neck, and as a result, his racing is suffering and has been for a very long time. I know there's other reasons like mental health, but he's not going to end up with a seat if he carries on like this. He's going to be ousted pretty quick. He's meant to be, what is it?
Especially
multiple Grand Prix winner.
Boom.
Maths ain't going up.
I think, was it 12 or 13 wins? I think. Then you think he's got more than Daniel Ricciardo, and Daniel Ricciardo is a more sought-after thing, even after 2 absolutely atrocious years. He's still sought after by teams.
In all fairness, if Daniel Ricciardo had a mullet...
it kind of shows the calibre of Bottas.
If he had a mullet, he'd be in a seat, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
He'd be in Bottas's seats.
Yeah, he'd be in Bottas's trousers. That's what I'm saying there.
Jesus.
It's been 10 minutes, got to say something stupid. But yeah, when you've got talent like Théo Pourchaire, who's waiting to come in, basically, depending on what he does in Formula 2, I'm not sure who's the other one? You've got Jack Doohan, I think, as well. He was quite a bit, he's Alpine. But yeah, Pourchaire, who I think could probably slot himself into a Alfa Romeo seat. Zhou, I think he's relatively safe. He's performing to a standard level, but Bottas, yeah, he said he doesn't seem to be producing a miracle for the team on a regular basis. And that team is a team that needs miracles to have happening on a regular basis, you know. So yeah, I think there's quite a lot that you could digest into with the Bottas landscape. Yeah, I think maybe Bottas leaves and Vettel comes back. That's just some random crap. I don't know, I thought that. There you go.
He's still only 2 points behind him. So.
Matt P1
Leclerc's out of that race was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. He just turned in like no one was there. I felt sorry for Lance.
Lance probably reminded me of JC on the sim.
Yeah, you weren't there, you were on the right. He's like clearly on the left. Like that type of thing. Obviously this time it was the right to the left, but yeah, no, it just didn't make any sense. When I was watching it in the replay, just like, what are you doing? Like, you could see him there. Like, when you've got Carlos Sainz in the same car dive bombing from about 4 postcodes away, and you've got on the same corner, but Leclerc just pretends like there's no one there. I think Leclerc, unfortunately, is losing his head a little bit with Ferrari.
He's doing.
I think he's getting the Ferrari syndrome.
2018, I think.
I think
maybe not.
He definitely loses.
He's doing Seb 2020.
Yeah, his confidence is gone, and that's just now affecting everything.
Yeah. Do you know what? I always remember.
Be surprised if he gives it another year, or even waits for someone like Mercedes to let Hamilton to retire to try and get a seat there, because that's he can't go anywhere else because he'd be going sideways or backwards. He needs to go upwards, and the only 2 or 3 now are Aston, Mercedes, and Red Bull, and the only one with a possible seat outside of Checo for Ricciardo is Lewis in the near future. So
yeah, it would either be I think that's right. I couldn't imagine unless Alonso does his 2-year thing and then sods off. But now Alonso's got a taste for a potential W. He's going to be sprite step like a 25-year-old again.
Yeah. So, talking of Alonso,
he's going to be right there.
They seem to struggle this weekend, and I was saying earlier that I think that the tyres, like Ferrari, on an Aston Martin, hinder their race performance and pace. I don't know what you boys think to that.
He seemed very oversteery, didn't he? He was soaring at the wheel quite a lot. Alonso, that is.
Yeah, he did seem to snap a lot of oversteer around most of the corners, especially the high-speed chicane. He was snapping so much oversteer coming out of that.
Yeah.
But it could be, like JC said, it could be all track dependent. Like, that car could be absolutely blistering at some tracks, but other tracks, the tyres just don't hook up on them.
I mean, did you see them all? First lap, obviously, start, and then first corner, and they're all coming out the first turn. How much they all just snapped out of it. And problem is, not just that, what I found weird, bit of a different subject. Why did Verstappen brake so early?
Yeah, that was weird. That was
really weird. Is it the brake
weird.
issues that Ryan were talking about earlier on, like Checo, do you think? Or is it him just being really defensive?
It could be, but he never... No one
we don't know, though, because obviously he went wide as well, didn't he?
I can tell you what it is.
On his own, like 8 seconds in front, and he went wide.
I can tell you what it is.
Go on, Josh.
Skill issue.
Washed. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Skill issue. Hit it on the head there.
Yeah. Greatest of all time, or like gash of all time. But there we go. Another one in.
Magnussen, boys. That's a gash weekend, wasn't it?
Wait, what even happened? Was Magnussen even in it? What happened? Where was he?
He's the one that hit the wall, and his tyre flew up into space, and then came back down on the track.
That was it. Yeah, I
literally
couldn't remember.
Flag. Like,
yeah. The
also,
fans.
did you see one of someone's arm? His car hit
no way.
A fan.
Yeah. Yeah, but did you also see
brutal stuff.
If you get hit by a piece of carbon fibre, you at least want to collect it and say, I've been hit by this, and put it on your wall. Some twat ran over, so the man's got pissing blood all over his arm. And he was able to keep the carbon. Some bellend run over and stole it. Yeah.
Someone took it off him.
You want, mate? See you later.
Yeah. Terrible. Good day.
Good day, mate.
And we're cancelled again.
Yeah, that was classic.
The third time
Another
in
tradition.
one episode.
Yeah, it's a pretty mad situation. I think that whole race in general, just a mad.
Can I ask a question to you guys
thing.
just to see what you really quickly think before we go on to anything on next? The 4 DRS zones, which were pumped,
go for it.
On social for weeks and weeks and weeks, and probably since last year until they cancelled it.
Yep.
I don't think had a dramatic impact on the race like everyone predicted it, or the circuit thought that it would. And if anything, it detracted from it because it just was reliant on DRS overtakes. But there was some good overtakes on the late break inside. But again, it was, do we need more DRS zones? No. It only helped Max and Checo.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think it did? I think the extra one brought a car closer to the next one. Right, and I think that's what we saw a lot of overtakes into that really awkward right hand.
Hello, Will Buxton, are you here?
If you finish first, you win the race. If you qualify in first place, you start first. Yeah, no, I think it got on that extra 2 temps on the car for the next DRS zone. That's what I really liked.
That DRS down.
That's what I was saying. Do we actually need that though? It's
but...
not 4 DRS zones. Like, we don't actually need that DRS zone.
No, don't need it.
It's just a marketing thing.
Like I said, it brought the racing closer and got cars closer together, but that was about it.
Yeah. I think without it, it would have done exactly the same.
Yeah,
what I'd like to see, this is it's still on topic for DRS, but I'd like Red Bull to not be able to use it for one race. And I want to see how much of their car is DRS reliant.
Brundle was saying that.
Just whining down the radio, saying he's smashing the button 50 times and nothing's fucking happening.
That's what I just want him to have one DRS failure and see what happens. Like,
it would be free.
Because that gap it's insane.
Oh, stupid.
Did you see the onboard of Lewis when he overtook him?
Yeah.
Flying Saudi again.
That is not. That's not on the same field.
It's
surely.
Like everyone else is in an F2 car and he's in an F1 car.
Surely, though, the technology that they've implemented is going to be on the same level for this season like DAS. So it either should become public IP, which means everybody can do it, or they get restricted. Because whatever they've done to enable the DRS to be 17 mile an hour faster than the rest of the field is clearly a technological advancement that no one else can achieve because of the budget cap or because Adrian Newey is actually a walking genius.
But it's nothing to do with him, is it? Because it's how like the DRS mechanism works.
There you go then. So it's
rumours saying
like a DAS equivalent to the car
mechanical
thing. Yeah. So it should be public IP or they should be restricted. Like DAS was.
There is something mechanical on that car that is giving them an advantage. It can't be down.
because aero is strong.
Yeah,
but
it can't.
That's just like it opens up and it's got.
I don't know about you boys, but Leo is looking like he's primed and ready to tell us all about it.
Yeah, Leo looks like he's ready for a good old go in.
He's left Milton Keynes today. He's going to say, "Go on."
Right, I've got 2 opinions. Taking away DRS from them, even though they've like the way they've designed it, I don't know how to design it, but it's impressive, right? Do you know what?
That is the best take we have ever had on BSDF1.
That's amazing.
The DRS is amazing.
Taking that, that's amazing. Taking that away, it's stupid. Yeah. Should be made public. Yeah. Get rid of it.
It's too much.
Get rid of the whole car.
And go put the Aston Martin t-shirt on and say, don't worry, we're going to copy it in a minute.
Yeah.
Get the tracing paper out again. Red ballpoint pen. But
nice.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it, that power spikes that it has. Because the Red Bull looks relatively fine, and then it gets in DRS, and the biggest thing of another car. Like, in qualifying, it gives them some pace, but again, not too much pace. But as soon as it gets behind another, I think I saw somewhere that when the Red Bull is behind another car with DRS open, it gives the equivalent of like 39 kilometers an hour compared to a car with no DRS open. And then if a car's got DRS open, it gives that 17 against it. But if it's got like a 39 kilometer an hour difference against a car with no DRS, which is like, it's unreal. But I've also heard rumours, which you've all probably heard as well, about Red Bull trying to downplay their strength so they don't get penalised. Yeah, Russell. Yeah,
Russell said that.
Interesting.
They would though, because it makes sense to them. They did it in the first race.
Imagine if that's not their full strength.
Yeah, we saw just how powerful they are, and then all of a sudden in Jeddah it was only 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden here it was like only 5 or 6 seconds, 8 seconds. Yeah.
Surely it's not only the fans that can see that. Because surely the governing bodies can see this. It's obvious.
No, they won't. They'll just turn a blind eye. It's fucking Red Bull.
True.
Christian Horner will get back on Sky again.
They go back on a little.
He'll go camping for the FIA. Yeah, that's how we know it. That's what he does. So,
well, we don't know where Massey was this weekekend.
Exactly. Wonder what garage he was in. Do you believe someone asked? I thought it was really insensitive. To be fair, somebody went up to Michael Massey and asked him, "I just got to know, man, what was behind Abu Dhabi?" I'm like, "You fucking idiot! The man got death threats. Leave him out." Like, he literally got death threats from lunatic fans about that scenario. That's why he does bloody Australian Supercar or whatever the other category is. V8. He doesn't want to know about that. It's gone now. Your V8 Supercar, yeah. It's gone. It's the past. Don't ask him about things that are very clearly, obviously, mental trauma for the bloke.
To be fair,
couldn't be seen in a sport, and
it's still being brought up though. As soon as this
fan doing that,
as soon as this red flag came up though, that's everyone mentioned it on Twitter, didn't they? Abu Dhabi 21, this Abu Dhabi 21.
And of course it was. Yeah.
Fuck, are we still here? Wow.
Yeah, just get over it at this point.
Yeah,
like, we make jokes about it. And I think everyone can make a joke about it, but actually the people that believe it, every time if I see that, like, Verstappen push Hamilton off dive bomb again from bloody Abu Dhabi 21, I can't deal with it. And they're like, yes, but actually, remember when this happened this one time? It's like, get over yourself. Their Twitter handle's got Lewis in it, and they've got 44 and LH somewhere in there. And I just incite rage into the Verstappen fan base. Hold on, here it comes.
Whoa. President Gatekeeper, back. Oh,
There he goes. The Quimelton. Oh, my favourite.
I had no reason.
The other one on. It's,
what's that?
Verstappen. There it is. Yeah, just keep on going back and forth with them. You should do that. We should just put like a mirror of a Mercedes fan arguing with a Red Bull fan. Oh, no, sorry. That's the wrong one. Should do a LH fan versus a Verstappen shagger. Yeah, that's what it should be. Yeah. That's definitely what it should be.
Can I cut in for just a second?
Oh, you can cut in as much as you want, mate, with that Mercedes cap on.
I've just looked at our TikTok. Everyone, by the way, you can follow us on TikTok at BSDF1 _podcasts.
There we go.
We have just reached our first 1,000 views.
Oh,
yes, boys!
Oh.
And we are now
there
at 200 likes as well. And by the way, Josh, it was when you were calling Red Bull twats. So,
of course, it would have been.
Currently, I have. Let me just check
nothing like a bit of controversy.
Let me just hit all the Verstappen fans crying in my DMs. I've got none, so I need some.
There they go.
Actually,
yeah, I want to sleep at night. Can some Verstappen fans have a go?
but on that fantastic
Cry
bombshell,
yourself to
ladies
sleep.
and gentlemen, that's fucking amazing news. I can't believe we got over 1,000.
Yeah, we're on
75.
1,160.
So it's there.
75.
And exactly like Ryan said, make sure you're following us on them socials. We've plugged our Twitter. Leo, what was that again?
And he didn't even have to look.
BSDF1 team.
Didn't even look at that one that time. Excellent. Ryan,
Getting better,
one more time for the
better.
listeners. What was that TikTok?
At BSDF1_podcast.
Fantastic. And Josh, why don't you show what our podcast and where they can find them? Where are all our channels?
You can listen to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcast, and other podcast providers.
There are loads out there. Make sure you put it, and make sure you're looking for the BSDF1 podcast on all of them sites. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a race review of the Australian 2023 Grand Prix. Chaos ensued as it did. Drivers were off. Verstappen won again.
Classic.
And Lewis was on the podium on P2 with Alonso, a championship podium, a championship podcast. Everybody, I don't know why I can hear a car in the background, or was that a moped? We do live in the UK, so it was definitely a moped.
It was a motorbike.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We will be back in the week with a couple of segments of some other talking points because there was so much to talk about, so we're going to get into more stuff. And we will see you next week. Oh, forgot to add, before I say I'll see you, we'll all see you next week. We've got a ridiculously long break. Podcast will still be coming out. More videos will be coming out weekly, discussing loads of different things, some random things as well. So keep on the channel, hit the notification bell on YouTube for all of the other videos because they probably won't go out on podcast sites. So make sure you follow our YouTube, which is BSDF1. Again, everybody, from me, it's goodbye, boys. We'll say bye to listeners.
Ciao.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye, listeners. Bye.
All right, bye.